So they're taking away JobCorps. And don't come on here talking about they're just pausing. Now, I don't want to hear that because we all know where this is going. As someone who works in social services, I hate crying on videos, but as someone who works in social services, and I watch people every day trying to make something out of nothing, giving everything they have just for a little bit better life. Our kids who are out here and don't have that many options, and to watch them take away one after the other, after the other, after the other.
They had us go to the rec at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
This is what I mean when I say don't pay attention to what they're saying. Just pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to their actions. Now, for those of you who haven't heard or who haven't seen, they are shutting down the JobCorp program nationwide. If you don't know what the JobCorp program is, consider yourself to have a very fortunate upbringing. If you don't know what JobCorp is, you probably had a very fortunate upbringing or a decent upbringing.
Hey my people, Gracie here once again, welcoming you back to the channel. I hope that from wherever you my lovelies are watching this from, you're doing alright and God has protected you and preserved you very well. I do appreciate all of you that keep supporting, those of you that give me super thanks and super chats, thank you so very much. And a big shout out to my members as well that keep supporting through the membership program. I do appreciate you so very, very much. Today, as always, we have another interesting episode to look at, and we're going to be reacting or seeing reactions of Black people specifically. We have other people reactions as well in here about a program that has been or that is scheduled to shut down by the end of the month of June. And it is called JobCorp. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but from what it looks like on here, they are saying JobCorp is the largest nationwide residential career training program in the country and has been operating for more than 50 years. The program helps eligible young people ages 16 through 24 complete their high school education, trains them for meaningful careers, and assists them with obtaining employment. And with that program, you know, scheduled to be shut down, there's quite a number of people that are going to be affected, majorly Black people that come from poor or struggling backgrounds. Now, I come from a struggling background. I know what this means, and that's the reason as to why I wanted to bring it out here so that you guys be aware that this is happening. They are cutting quite a number of programs, and there's just a lot of things that don't make sense. But let's look at these reactions, and you know, and as teachers, credit goes to all the creators who will come back and talk about it. Just do me a favor, spread the awareness by sharing, liking the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll highly appreciate your opinion on this in the comment section.
They had us go to the rec at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carlton Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
The ones who are trying to get it right. This is why I'm so pissed off. These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids who are trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
Yesterday, it was almost like a massacre. It was tears, it was just sorrow.
The issue, the problem that we're facing is that many students don't have a home of record. They have nowhere to go. We have family and children's here. We are reaching out to Grand, Counseling Recovery. We're reaching out to Dream Center, Tulsa Boys Home, Tulsa Girls Home. We need help.
I've been hearing, you know, that Job Corps is where bad kids go and it's where all the trouble kids go. That's not true. There are a lot of good people here.
I would say for our lawmakers, you guys need to get on the ground and get back in touch with the community. It's easy to sign a piece of paper and walk away and not see the devastation. It's here. It's real.
Don't shut the door. We need JobCorp.
What do you say to a student who had nothing that came here for not just housing, not just food, but to have a future, and now just for it to all be shut down?
So they're taking away JobCorps. And don't come on here talking about they're just pausing. Now, I don't want to hear that because we all know where this is going. As someone who works in social, I hate fucking crying on videos, but as someone who works in social services, and I watch people every day trying to make something out of nothing, giving everything they have just for a little bit better life. Our kids who are out here and don't have that many options, and to watch them take away one after the other, after the other, after the other, options that offer people a viable, sustainable life. Hate is a very strong word. It's a very strong emotion. And I tried really, really hard not to be consumed by it. But for everyone that voted for this, for everyone that sat back and didn't put the work in to not allow this to happen, I cannot express what I feel for you without using the word hate.
This is what I mean when I say don't pay attention to what they're saying. Just pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to their actions. Now, for those of you who haven't heard or who haven't seen, they are shutting down the JobCorp program nationwide. If you don't know what the JobCorp program is, consider yourself to have a very fortunate upbringing. If you don't know what JobCorp is, you probably had a very fortunate upbringing or a decent upbringing. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, the JobCorp program was a program that was initiated all around the country. I know personally, growing up down in Miami, the JobCorp program was a very, very vital program in my community. What the JobCorp program did was provided an opportunity for kids and young adults up to about the age of 20 or 21, I believe. It provided them with an alternative to those who weren't necessarily able to thrive or function in a normal high school environment. Also, it gave an opportunity for kids who were homeless. It provided them an opportunity to get an education, to get their GED, to get their high school diploma. It also provided them an opportunity to learn a trade and get job skills that they could use to be productive members of society, to be productive members of the community. It also provided housing. Again, it accepted homeless kids. So what it did, some of these programs around the country in these job corps, it provided housing, it provided food, it provided stabilization for these people's lives. And again, it provided an opportunity to let them become productive and learn skills that would make them able to earn a living and earn money. Now, in the beginning of the video, I said, don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they're doing. It was funny watching the news last week, and, you know, with all this thing going on about Harvard, one of those things that the press secretary said, I won't say that lady name, one of the things that the press secretary was saying was how this current administration was going to take all the money that they were getting from these from Harvard and these other universities that weren't, quote unquote, you know, willing to capitulate to what they wanted. They were going to take that money, those funds, and give them to trade schools and trade programs and redistribute it. Well, if that was the case, why are we shutting down a vital program that helped a lot of people, a lot of underprivileged people, a lot of people in these minority communities get those skills, get those trades that you were talking about, you know, develop these necessary skills that they need to survive? So again, don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they do, and hopefully something happens. But if not, man, RIP to JobCorp.
They're closing JobCorp at the same time that they're having an enlistment shortage in the military. JobCorp has 119 centers nationwide. They serve about 25,000 students this year, but prior to COVID, they served about 60,000 students. JobCorp specifically makes sure that low-income people between the ages of 16 to 24 can learn a vocational trade. It makes sure that people that are most vulnerable have an employable skill that they can use in the real world. Republicans speak out of both sides of their mouths because on one hand, they'll say,
electricians, plumbers, we need more of those in our country,
while also closing down the same program that provides those things. This is also a way of propping up the for-profit prison system. One of the main demographics that uses JobCorp are children or young adults that have court-ordered supervision or have a criminal record. The president said he wants to build more for-profit prisons, so now you have a demographic of people who can't learn a skill or a trade, also have criminal records and court-ordered supervision. Where do you think they go? The damage that this administration is going to do is going to be irreversible for generations to come.
They want young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 to be homeless because that's what's going to happen. JobCorp is scheduled to end 99 facilities by June 30th, which will leave young adults and minors ages 16 to 24 who don't have a place to go. They will be homeless. They're all up my FYP right now, showing themselves having to pack with nowhere to fucking go. A lot of people don't even know what JobCorp is. It is an organization that is designed, it's almost like college, but it allows ages 16 to 24 young adults and minors to get skills, skills for being an automotive technician, trade skills, being an electrician or being a plumber. And essentially, they live there, they live on campus, they build a community, they are paid. It's very little wages, but they can also utilize financial aid for their material and for their everyday living necessities and expenses. And now they're just going to take it away. They're going to take it away because they want low-income people to fucking perish. That's what they want. That's what they want. And yes, there's a lot of people of color who depend on Job Corps. Black, brown, and there are some that are white, low-income individuals who don't have anywhere to go, who won't have anywhere to go. They are packing, they are crying, they are losing their family, essentially, and they're losing their resources. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're depending on the government again. Depending on the government, not so much. They are utilizing the resources provided. What is so different about Job Corps than going to college and getting financial aid and getting a Pell Grant? The only difference is that when they get out of that, they are going to have a job. They're going to have a trade skill. Y'all complain nobody wants to do this work and nobody wants to work. Now you're taking away the only people who will be trained to do said work. You are fucking idiots. I promise you that. Whoever voted this way, kick fuck rocks barefoot, bro.
Just when you thought shouldn't get any motherfucking worse, they have shut down JobCorp. And JobCorp is scheduled to shut down by the end of June. People have to move out right now. For those of y'all who don't know what JobCorp is, it is a vocational school that has helped people with training for jobs that are out there. It especially has helped low-income families, and it has helped families who are homeless. So, which means at this JobCorp place, while you're training for a job, they also giving you living benefits. So now that shit has been shut down, then you got this goofy job market that you got going on, where these job markets are saying, oh, hey, we're hiring. Then you go put an application in and come to find out, oh, we're going to go with other candidates. Then you go to look at the damn thing once more, and it's still there saying we're still hiring. So for all y'all that's going to sit there and say, oh, well, how's about those people in Job Corps going to have to get a job like the rest of us? Good luck with that with the job market. And by the way, y'all heard about that big, beautiful bill? Oh, my bad, correction. Big, beautiful bullshit. That money has been passed through the House. It's only a matter of time before it gets passed through the Senate, and God forbid it do. And if it does, you know what? I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to quote what this man that works within the government, and y'all can look that video up yourself. This man said, and I quote, if you guys are so proud, this administration, this Republican Party, if y'all motherfuckers so proud of taking millions upon millions upon millions of people off of Medicaid and SNAP, if y'all are so proud of that shit, why the fuck holding this mini at 1 a.m. in the morning is beyond motherfucking. He said that shit. I just reiterated it into mini form. You heard me. So he has also said, if y'all are so proud of this, if y'all so proud of this big beautiful bill that y'all claim it to be beautiful, how come y'all didn't hold it at 1 p.m.? Huh? Kinda had you motherfucking right. So God forbid, big beautiful bullshit gets passed. Millions of people get taken off of Medicare. Millions of people get taken off of SNAP. Job Corp is no longer a fucking option. These job markets is not helping anymore. What the fuck you happen? Make this country great again, mother.
So let's talk about what the real Trump agenda is. And believe it or not, it's all centered around race in this country. So for the people who like to say that woke was the thing that was destroying this nation, you're about to find out just how much the Republican Party and conservatives actually care about race. They have been more focused on it than those people you claim to be woke ever were. Let's start here. If you are Hispanic or Latino, they want you out. They want you out of the country. They don't want you working the jobs you've been working or living in the communities you've been living in. They want all of you out of the country altogether. The fact is, white supremacy has done the numbers, and your community is the biggest threat to them. Your community will be the majority here in this country in less than 5 years. They don't want that, so they're going to try and get all of you out. They don't want to unalive you. That's not how they treat your community. They will settle for you just being outside of America's borders. Now, if you're a Black American, if you're an African American here in this country, that is the community that they want to unalive. They will only settle for us being in 2 places here in America, that is unalived or in the prison system. Because the prison system will allow them to put us to work with no wages. You know, they will give us the jobs that they took from the Latino people, the people that they sent out of the country. Don't ever forget when that man was campaigning, he specifically said that Hispanic people are here taking Black jobs. They want Black people working the jobs that they are taking Hispanic people out of, and they want us working for them for no money. And if we refuse to do that, they will unalive us. If you're Middle Eastern, they don't want you here unless you're willing to support what they are doing in Palestine. If you support that, they won't bother you. But if you speak up against that in any way, shape, or form, they're going to ship you out. If you are Asian or even Indian, they will let you stay here if you can help serve them in technology. If you can code, if you can take care of all of the computer stuff that they don't know how to handle, they don't mind you staying here. But if you can't do anything to help them with that, they're going to accuse you of being tied to a terrorist organization, or worse, the Chinese Communist Party. And then they will ship you out. Do they care about eggs? No. Do they care about gas prices? No. Do they care about cost of living? No. Do they care about healthcare? No. I'm going to unpack this in greater detail on my daily podcast. You should go subscribe to my Substack and check out the Lime Room. By the way, if you're a white American and you think you're off the hook, oh no. Your existence fully depends on how much money is in your bank account. Guess what? If you're low income, you get to have the trade jobs. If you don't come from money, you are the ones who get to be the plumbers, the electricians. You get to work in the coal mines. That is the place that this regime wants you to be. And then everybody else can have a good time. There won't be any middle class, so it will strictly be the wealthy Caucasian section of this country enjoying all of the resources that they have taken from everybody else. I know some of you are going to listen to this TikTok who supported this man and go, this dude is making all of this up. He is speaking nonsense. But please tell me one thing that I said that this man has not already tried to put into place. Please tell me that I'm wrong. I guarantee that you can't do it.
So, the United States Department of Labor is shutting down JobCorp. Let me explain why that should piss you off. JobCorp is a federally funded program that gives low-income youth between the ages of 16 and 24 free education, career training, housing, food, and job placement help. For almost all of these kids, it is their one shot at breaking the poverty cycle that some of their families have been living in for generations. But the Department of Labor has announced that they're going to be shutting it down. Why? Because they say it's too expensive. It runs about $1.7 billion to process through about 50,000 individuals through the program annually. That's about $34,000 per participant, which is a screaming deal considering that that's housing, food, job training, career training, financial management training, everything that you would get throughout your life that these individuals haven't been able to receive because of where they came from. But at the end of June, on June 30th, the Department of Labor is shutting down all of the contract-ran centers because they say next year the deficit on the program will hit $213 million a year. They also say it's underperforming, and that could be argued to be true because only about 38% of the participants graduate, and the average income after leaving the program is about $17,000 a year. There have been some safety concerns at some of the job centers just due to the nature of the program, but the deficit shouldn't be a big problem. It's ran at a deficit before, and Congress has always ended up funding it because it is an important program that's been around since 1964. But here's the real truth behind it, because they're not shouting from the rooftops that nearly half of the students in JobCorp are black students. Another 17% are Latino. Only about 25% are white. So JobCorp doesn't just serve low-income youth, it overwhelmingly helps youth of color. And as with everything else in the past in this country, shutting it down doesn't fix anything. It's overwhelmingly going to hurt people of color. And this administration seems to relish that. There's no plan to return it. There's no safety net. There's just thousands of kids kicked out of training and housing with hundreds of staff across the country that are going to lose their jobs as well. So sure, Department of Labor and the Trump administration can say this is all about saving money, but let's not pretend that it's also about who benefits from this program and has historically, and who the administration and every Republican administration since it was established has been okay with leaving behind. This isn't about efficiency. It's about erasing people, and it's happening on purpose.
Well, dumbass Donald and his administration got rid of JobCorp. It's a program that helps poor kids and young men and women to get job training, and a lot of times it puts them in. It's like an apprenticeship, basically. And my uncle was actually in JobCorp, and he swears by it. He said he wouldn't be the man he was today if it wasn't for JobCorp. And he was a young, white, rural, poor kid. I mean, my grandparents had nothing, and it was a huge help for him. But I'm going to show you a news clip of what's actually happening, and then I'm going to show you some articles of what the Trump administration said would happen.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. I tried making a few calls, trying to figure out something, but as of so far, there's nothing that's solid ground.
18-year-old Cameron is dazed. His son, reality, he has no place to live.
Where are your parents?
One is in jail, the other is dead.
He lived at Detroit JobCorp on Detroit's west side, a career training facility for young people. A sad scene. Friday afternoon, dozens lugged garbage bags full of their belongings, some into their parents' trunks, and others, well, they didn't have anywhere to go.
The staff, they had us go to the rec at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
So let's look at who's in JobCorp. The ages are 16 to 24, men and women. The average age is 19. They're from disadvantaged backgrounds, debilitating environments, and they are in need of education and training. And as you can see here, 59% male, 77% lack a high school diploma or equivalent, 75% are minority groups, 50% are African American. Now let's look at what they said was going to happen to these people. They said they were planning a pause and an orderly transition for student, staff, and local communities, and the pause would occur by June 30th. They are actually closing these facilities down right now and kicking people out, as you can see. And then Lori Chavez comes out and says they are ensuring participants are supported through this transition and connected with resources they need to succeed as we evaluate the program's possibilities. No, they didn't. They booted these people out with nowhere to go. I mean, there's homeless 17, 18, 19-year-olds who are now out on the streets instead of getting job training. And this is why you know MAGA is full of shit. Because this should be MAGA. These are people that are Americans that need help. And they are trying. They're not out selling drugs. They're trying to get job training and be better people. And of course, Trump and his admin had to shut it down because it's made up of minorities and poor people who they do not give a shit about. 20 years of pull yourselves up by the bootstraps finally coming true. And from the videos I've seen, it can hit Trump voters straight in the face and they'll still give this motherfucker an A or a B because they are in a cult. This is why I can't stand these.
They're getting rid of JobCorp because no one's joining the military. And rightfully so. Like, who the fuck actually wants to go and fight for a country that's not fighting for them? At this point specifically in time in America. Like, that's just not what people want to do. And I feel like initially they got rid of DEI because they thought it was going to make a bigger splash and it was going to affect a certain amount of, marginalized groups, but it didn't actually do that, and it affected other people. And so now their next effort is like, oh, well, we'll just get rid of JobCorp because that actually is something that benefits, marginalized groups and is helping them. And so in doing that, I don't know if they're thinking like, oh, if we get rid of this, well, now these people will think that they have to join the military and fight for this country that's not fighting for them. But, like, I just don't see people joining the military, especially with the knowing that this country doesn't really give a fuck what is going on in their lives. And, like, the country is not fighting for them at all. So then what would be the point of that? Because even if they did a draft, it would still be like, well, we're not going to go. And then what is the government going to do? Say that everyone is now a prisoner because they decided not to get drafted into wars? Like, and okay, if everyone's now in prison because they didn't want to go fight for the war, then you still have no soldiers. So, like, this is just not a smart decision on their end. Like, were they even thinking? Like, it doesn't even make any sense.
They shut down JobCorp, so let me tell you that now is the time that we need to step up. Now is the time that we need all of our tradespeople to step up, because here's what's going to happen. They're shutting down JobCorp because they're really trying to push more people into the military, because JobCorp was a way for a lot of people to get out the hood. It was a way for a lot of other youth to stay away from the, get out of the BS. Not to say that there wasn't BS going on inside JobCorp, but it was a way out. It was a way for you to get a trade and get out the hood. But now they are shutting it down because they want to push more of our youth into the military, right, to brainwash them and to send them off to be pawns into that nonsense, right? So we're gonna need all of our people in the neighborhoods that have a trade. If you're a mechanic, if you are a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you know how to do roofing, whatever you know how to do, right? Computers, whatever you know, now is the time. All of these high educated people who got all of these skills and went to college for all of this time and know all this stuff, now is the time to be teaching our youth. We need to do it within our own communities and be self-sufficient with that, because they're gonna they're gonna utilize shut down JobCorp to either push them to the military, right, or that prison pipeline. You ain't in school, they're gonna get you into prison because they're gonna keep you. JobCorp kept you out the streets, so now you're gonna go from the streets to prison. Just be aware, y'all. Be aware.
So I was watching the video yesterday, and in the video it showed a group of people leaving the JobCorp saying the government was shutting down the JobCorp. In my head, I'm like, there ain't no way in hell they doing that. It don't make no sense. So I was doing some of my own research, and I found out they really is shutting down the JobCorp. So now I dug a little deeper, and I found out why. Now I found out two sets of reasons. Now, the first set of reasons I'm about to give y'all, that's the reasons they give you, the reasons they push to the media. The second set of reasons I'm about to give y'all are reasons I found by doing a little more digging and what I find to be the truer reasons, because with these second set of reasons that I found, it make more sense to them shutting down the JobCorp. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'll give you their reasons first. Their first reason is low graduation rates. They said the graduation rate is about 38 or 39%. So that's one reason why they're shutting it down. All right. Second is average cost per graduate, right? They said the average cost per graduate is $155K. So I guess cost is a concern, from what they say at least. Third, safety issues. Now this is where I get confused, because it literally says safety issues. What I read says safety issues. It didn't specify what kind of issues. They just said they have safety issues and a number of incident reports were filed, but it didn't say what type, so I'm a little confused. I think they just threw that in there to throw people off. A lot of people see the word safety issues, and I guess they must believe it has to be true. I'm not a lot of people. And the last reason they gave was financial deficit. The company operated at $140 million in 2024. In 2025, it said that the company operates at $213 million, so financial deficit is the last reason they gave. Now I'm about to give y'all the reasons I found that make a lot more sense as to why they're shutting down the JobCorp. 1, eliminating pathways out of poverty. Now, if you look at the JobCorp, it helps a lot of people who don't really have a way out, especially people from low-income black communities, right? So if they take that out, now people are more dependent on the system. All right, they need more help now because now they have no other way out. profit, right? That's the second reason I found. Now, what I found out is that once a company like JobCorp is shut down, other private companies will step in to help these younger generation kids get a skill, but at a cost. It may cost too much though, right? So that's number 2. 3, and this started making a lot more sense, widening the school to prison pipeline. JobCorp is like an alternative to gang life. It's like an alternative to prison. It's like an alternative to get somebody from where they're going and turn their whole life around. JobCorp is literally like a life flip. So if you take the JobCorp out and these younger kids that are coming from the hood, they go back to joining gangs, then they go back to the prison, which makes sense because now you're getting free labor out of them, which is what they want from the jump anyway. 4, voter suppression, right? So they're trying to disempower the people. The fewer opportunities the younger generation has, the less they're going to care about what's going on in the politics. If you don't know where your next, meal is coming from, or if you don't even know where your next dollar is coming from, you don't care about what these millionaires are doing behind closed doors. You're trying to figure out how you're going to survive. You're in survival mode. So that's another reason. They're trying to disempower the voters, disempower the people. And the older generation is more so set, so they do things to affect the younger generation. 5. Now, what they're doing now, this is the biggest one. This is why I saved this for last. They're pushing people towards military recruitment. Now, if y'all remember a few years back, maybe 1 or 2 years, they were talking about how our military is the weakest that it has been since they started first allowing it to be a choice. Now, why is it the weakest it's ever been? Because we have alternatives like JobCorp. A lot of kids nowadays want to be TikTokers. A lot of kids nowadays want to be YouTubers. We have options available to us like trade school. A lot of kids are going back to college. So the military is weaker because, back in the older generation, that was the number one option, and it's no longer the number one option. People were given a choice, and with people given a choice, now they're choosing not to go to the military. But, the older generation, what they're trying to do is take the choice back by taking a big option away, which is the JobCorp. The first 4 reasons were their reasons that I read from one of their sites. The last 5 reasons were mine when I did a little bit more digging, and I believe the last 5 reasons are the real reasons they decided to shut down the JobCorp. This is my longest video yet, but I feel like I had to come here to enlighten the people. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking, man. What y'all think they shut down the JobCorp for, man? I love y'all. Y'all be safe.
I guess a part of making America great during this golden age is shutting down JobCorp. JobCorp was established as a part of the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964. The program provided free residential education and job training programs for citizens between the age of 16 and 24. So a lot of kids who were kicked out of their homes prematurely, or those kids who came through foster care, would use this program to get a leg up. They learned skills and trades that help them get decent paying jobs today in society. So why close this program without a viable alternative? I personally think it's part of a long-term initiative to stop education in the United States for low-income people and have them working in factories. I believe Howard Lutnick said this a few weeks ago, and I talked about it in one of my videos, but nobody's paying attention. Common sense would have it. The more uneducated a population is, the easier it is to control them. But common sense is not so common in the United States, and that's on purpose. Somewhere along the way, people in this country have been brainwashed or gaslit into voting against their own interests, and it worked. They did a number on them. If you notice, the rich are united while the poor are divided. And that's on purpose. Somewhere along the way, the masses are okay with paying taxes, but not getting the ROI in the programs, right? Where do they do that at? How are you paying more taxes, but your programs are being cut? Think. Where is your money going? Think. See, they created a boogeyman for you to distract you. And the boogeyman is minorities and immigrants. So if you focus on the boogeyman, or the so-called alleged boogeyman, then you're not focused on your taxes being taken, and you're not getting a return on your investment. Just think, they got you to normalize this thought process, right? They got you to normalize the hamster on the wheel. That's you, you're the hamster. They got you to normalize that and be okay with it. And how they keep you as the hamster on the wheel, perpetually just running that wheel, is they connected your health care to your employer. They're intertwined. And without working, you can't have health care. That's not normal. And also employment at will. Okay, where there's a situation, it's a very lopsided situation where you can be fired for anything. No other country in the world does that. Not one other country. This is the only place, the United States, that does employment at will. Why? Because it's toxic. Every other country protects their citizens. You got to think, wake up. So attacking JobCorp is an organized effort and strategy, a long-term one, to get the little hamsters at 16 to get ready for that will for the rest of their life and put them in factories.
40,000 JobCorp students, people who grew up in poverty, who are working their way towards a skill, a trade, a certificate, so that they could get meaningful employment and not be on food stamps, not be on Medicaid. They just found out that their program was cut. Would you take a moment and pray for the people who are struggling, the students and the staff who are just trying to figure out what the future looks like for themselves right now? God, you know what each person needs. Be present with each person. We pray for your miracles, not even sure what kind of miracle to ask for, but we pray for them and we trust it in your hands. And we each commit to doing our part, to make this world a more whole place. Amen.
It's crazy how they got rid of Job Corps and then immediately opened up more listings for military recruitment positions. That's really, really interesting because I'm not going to lie. It sounds like something the government would do. They would take away the funding for, self-sufficiency for young adults, because that's what Job Corps was, basically to teach young adults how to acquire skills, trades, certifications, degrees, diplomas, things of that nature, and force them into a route of either possibly unemployment, likelihood of getting into trouble, crime, or joining the military. Yeah, that's not weird at all. Like I said, I just think that's kind of strange how the timing works with that. Job Corps was literally, like I said, something that a lot of people have used to become nurses, CNAs, truck drivers. It's just terrible, But yeah, also, if you don't have a mattress pad, you definitely should invest in one. I've been getting really good sleep with one, and I think you should grab one too because they're awesome, and this one's pretty cheap on the TikTok shop, so yeah. But either way, like I said, Job Corps there need to be more organizations like Job Corps because not everybody wants to sign themselves over to the military and get shipped off somewhere and get PTSD.
Those are some of the reactions that I managed to find for us on here. There's quite a lot, but I put in these ones. Hopefully they make quite a lot of sense and they communicate the issue very well. I told you, coming from the background of struggling, I know what this means. And I know that this is something that is very, very important because not everyone has or comes from a two-parent household. There are even those that come from such families, but they don't have their, stuff together. But you do have quite a number of kids that come from disadvantaged families. Some parents are in prisons, like you have seen, they are in jail. Some are on drugs, so there's nobody left out to really take care of these kids. And they want to be good kids. And I feel like the country and the administration, these are some of the things that they need to be putting in place, because the thing is, there's quite a number of people that are paying taxes for these programs to be funded and helping out on the young people. When you be talking about the fact that, all these young people are on the streets and they are doing drugs and they are unaliving, one of the programs that are supposed to be kettling and getting these kids off the streets and mentoring them and literally just shaping them to be good citizens, such programs. And I wonder how the government could even count this as wasteful spending when they are actually putting money into refugees that are coming from South Africa that are purporting that, they are going through a genocide, which is false. Everyone has come out to actually, prove that this genocide is not happening. But meanwhile, there's a program that is meant to help Americans to better their lives, give them a hope, give them a future, give them a career, get them out of the conditions that you guys stereotype them to, be, right? And you call this wasteful spending. You said you are fronting Americans, make America great again, right? How does this even make sense in the eyes of these people when they are getting rid of programs that are prioritizing Americans? Where are they putting all the money that they are pulling out of these programs, right? Meanwhile, this is a period when, they wanted to recruit people into the military by force. And now they are getting rid of all these programs so that all these kids will not have options. Let's not forget, most states are planning to actually make homelessness illegal. You understand? You see where this one is going? So get them out of the systems that have been helping them. Let them go on the streets. That is illegal. You are a criminal by just being on the streets because you don't have a home to go to, right? Meanwhile, they are building more other prisons, like more prisons. And not only that, they are policing the Black communities. What are they trying to do with all of this? And if a program is not is like underproductive. It's not producing the results that you want it to produce. What are you doing to better the program? Because definitely there is quite a number of things that need to be checked, policies and stuff, right? That need to be studied. There is quite a lot of amendments that need to be done with such programs and policies, right? So that it produces exactly what you want. With the biggest focus on this of this group being Black American kids. I mean, I understand there is quite of other palm-colored people that are benefiting from this and other Latinos, right? But with the biggest population being Black American kids, seriously, what are you trying to do? How are you going to prove to people that you're not being a racist and not being discriminative? Because in the first place, what you got rid of first was DEI. And you were saying that it has to be, by merit, as if the people that have been working in these departments have not been qualified enough. Meanwhile, it is these people that are not qualified, right? And it just doesn't make sense. You got rid of DEI. You're getting rid of SNAP benefits, disability benefits, Medicaid. Jesus Christ, who is going to be able to afford to live in this country? Who are they making this country for? If you are talking about making the country great again, who are you making it great for? I thought it's supposed to be made great for the Americans by default that are born there. We all cannot avoid the circumstances we are born under, right? But I feel like the least that you could do for your people is just putting in place such programs. But with all the things you're doing, just like scratching off everything that is supposed to help your people, why are you putting all this money? Right? You're talking about bringing manufacturing back to the country. Meanwhile, you were stagnating small businesses, putting money into the hands and pockets of billionaires. My goodness, I can completely understand the rage and the reactions and the concerns of my people in here. Because these are some of the things that need to actually be sponsored. These are things that are supposed to be financed heavily. If you want these kids off the streets, put these programs in place, right? Man, anywho, I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comment section of the reactions, and what is the Black community supposed to do, right? Because at this point we need some activism, activist groups, those people that are saying they're allies to the Black community, right? This is where we need to see the engagement and speaking up so that these programs don't get closed. Anyway, these communities are already marginalized. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it to spread more awareness. I think from me for today, those are my opinions. I would like to hear yours. Yes, I think that's it. Until then, my name is Gracie and I love all of you. Bye.